Hello, everybody. This is CJ Wiley with more adventures on the road. I've been touring around Tennessee for the last week, I guess. I'm over kind of in the mountains next to Bristol, Tennessee. This area was pretty good. There was a guy named Frank Fisher back in the 80s that used to play pretty well and gamble. But Tennessee in general was like a hotbed of action, like a stocked pond. You could go on I-40, and go clear across the state. And I mean, there must have been at least 20 or 30 different spots that we could get action, or anybody could get action. And the players in Tennessee had a lot of heart, and they would not quit until you gave them a pretty good dose of discipline, we used to say. So I've been through Tennessee with a lot of great players, and you know, we've won a considerable amount, and I've also lost. Part of your training and development comes from losing, not winning. I can look back at several examples of after getting beat, it really lightened a fire under me to do what it took, to strengthen my weaknesses and improve my overall game. The only way you can do that is playing competition that's better than you are, and that's what happened one night with Omaha John. We went across Tennessee and we were in Nashville. And there's a really good player here named Bobby Pickle. I'd heard his name before, but, I hadn't really been around him. Now, I was only 18 years old, so, I was pretty seasoned for that age, but, I hadn't developed like I did in my early 20s. But Omaha John was, one of my best mentors. So we went into this little bar, and I ended up seeing Bobby Pickle. He didn't really look like a pool player, He's a tall, pretty good-looking guy. Looked more like a golfer, I think he had like an Izod shirt on or something, which is part of the story here in a little bit, because we ended up playing a set for 500, and my confidence, just really wasn't that good, and I could tell right away this Bobby Pickle was a hell of a player. And how I can really tell, even back then I can remember, is how they go down on the ball. People that have a lot of movement, especially with their head going down to the ball, I knew I could beat them, because there's too many moving parts. And what I've learned from teaching a lot is your perception will actually change. When I point this out, it might seem kind of funny, hearing this, but I can prove it to just about anybody that isn't a top player. We don't have that issue, but there's definitely two perceptions, and one of the perceptions is about 3 or 4 inches too far to the left when a right-handed player is going down. So they see that line, their eyes make an adjustment, like a peripheral vision adjustment, so that the line looks straight, even though they're about 3 or 4 inches off. Now, when they go down on the ball, they make that slight adjustment and end up on the line. So, they start out lining up on like their right foot or right hip, ends up being their right shoulder, where I've said many times, it's best to be centered, line up on the center of your chest. But to be able to do that, you have to know how the footwork is done. And I've shown that. I still have a lot of questions about it. I need to make one. What we're working on now, I have a couple patents that are pending, and but one of the things I'm going to do is a device that where you can learn the exact footwork. And I also have a stroke trainer that's really strong that I've been working on for a while that really works, where even if you don't have a pool table, you can get better at your house just by getting into the exact right foot position and using this stroke training drill. And then we're going to have things on there where, it gives you an idea of how the aiming works, how you come off center or edge on every shot, where you can feel the angle rather than trying to see it. I can't aim when I get down on a shot. I feel it when I'm down on the shot. Now, when I'm above the shot, it's about 50-50, where I'm I'm seeing both balls and lining them up, but probably about 80% visual. And then when I go down, it reverses and I become about 80% feel and touch and 20% visual. I'm still looking at the object ball, but not really any particular part of it. I'm just feeling the relationship to the object ball so that I can create the angle that I'm looking at. And I'm always triangulating the angle off a fixed position. Everybody's kind of doing that, but I'm literally doing it, where I'm standing center and then creating the 15-degree cut or 30-degree cut all the way up to a half a ball. Anyway, I've explained that a lot in the past, and it's on my videos on my YouTube channel. But back to Bobby Pickle. He went straight down on the ball. And like I said, the key to that, especially for a tall person, is you have to get your left foot in front of the right foot, because that turns your hips about 15 or 20 degrees to the right, so that when you go down on the ball, you don't initiate it by going down with your upper body. You push your middle, your hips, back to make your head go down. See, it's the opposite of what most people are doing. Most people are getting up and going down with their head. So they're leading their body with their head rather than controlling their head with their body. It's kind of like that old adage about the dog wagging the tail or the tail wagging the dog. You want your dog to wag your tail. That means you want your body to control your head. Then you can get in the same position every single time, have the same perception every single time, and go down on the shot the same every time. This is what consistency is. The root of consistency is doing the same thing over and over. And like I said, Bobby Pickle, he beat me out of that $500, and John ended up getting up and playing him, and it was funny because he's kind of a character. I mean, kind of a wild character, because John started beating him, and I talked about that Izod shirt. Whatever shirt it was, he took his shirt off and started playing without a shirt on. And sure enough, he ran like 3 or 4 racks on Omaha John. And I was concerned, it looked like he was going to turn the tables and run over John. But, John was extremely seasoned, and he played pretty slow and methodical. So after Bobby put that barrage on him, John just stuck it, and that he didn't play overly slow, but he just never made any mistakes, and you could tell that he wasn't going to. So we ended up winning a little bit of money, but the experience is what helped me so much, because I needed to get beat at that time. I hated to lose money, especially half of it was John's, but I more than made it up for him later on. And he knew it. He was never mad at me when I didn't win, but he did make sure I knew how serious it was, and the mental game that he taught me just by being around him was powerful. So anyway, Bobby's, I hear he's on a little vacation, but we'll be back here maybe next year. I wish him the best, and I know he still plays well. So anyway, just a little chapter from my adventures on the road. If you want to learn more about my techniques, fundamentals, and systems, join me at masteringpocketbilliards.com. Until next time, this is CJ, over and out.